Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, and it is the Demetra K podcast where we are not live. I want to say that at the top, we are not live, but we want y'all to join in on the conversation. Nevertheless, we have an action-packed show today. But at first, I'd like to say the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. But as I was saying, we have an action-packed show. We're going to talk about 3 subjects this time. And y'all know me and Donovan, we could be talking about 3 subjects and end up talking about 10. But anyway, it's going to be fun. Nevertheless, we're going to start talking about Stacey Abrams and her candidacy. Some people are saying it's a failed candidacy, and some people are saying that it wasn't, for a whole host of reasons. We're also going to talk about a candidate that challenged Senator Ralph Warnock twice as he was running for Senate, and she says that she is being targeted by the Georgia Democratic Party. Going to show y'all a video of her, and then we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to lighten it up with a little bit of relationship chatter, if you will. And so, Donovan, what say you before we get started? You're muted.
All right, sorry about that. I was doing some background stuff there. Welcome to the Demetra K Show. You guys do us a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Glad to be on the show. Again, we are not live, and if you so choose and would like to help get this message out, please hit some of our Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all that other good stuff. You know, we appreciate the money that rolls, but we really appreciate the money that folds. So if you could do that just real quick. Yes, Stacey Abrams, a good subject here to talk about, because the bottom line is this: either you win or you lose. There is no second place in America. So we're going to talk about that. And we are also going to talk about our good friend, Tamara Johnson-Shealy, who seems to have been targeted by the very party that a lot of us are members of, and things that go on. And I believe Johnson-Shealy is a Democrat herself. So let's talk about that and get a little background on that and get that information out. And if you guys would do us a last favor, it is more important that you guys share this on your platform. And if you can share it on other platforms, that's great. But it's more important that you share it on your platform so that we can get this message out and get this conversation going. And we'll see where it goes from that point.
Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to put this video up, and then we are going to have a conversation about the candidacy of Miss Abrams. So let me actually find it because it buried it. Okay, there we go.
So sometimes you do not get to reap the immediate benefits for yourself of the work that you do. And I think that is a story that Black women all across this country.
Oops.
And so sometimes you do not get to reap the immediate benefits for yourself of the work that you do. And I think that is a story that Black women all across this country know all too well. But people better stand up and give Stacey Abrams her flowers.
That's right.
That's right.
By the way, Moses.
Thank you.
Yeah, I lost my preacher. I'll talk to my preacher.
Yeah.
Moses. He led the Jews to the promised land, but he didn't get there himself.
He didn't get there himself, but God took care of Moses.
Yes,
in the Bible, God said, I will bury Moses. Y'all leave Moses alone and let Joshua keep going. And Stacey will get her due. God will reward Stacey. Anytime you see Ossoff and Warnock and Biden in Washington, you're looking at the work of Stacey Abrams.
That
Amen.
is correct.
Amen.
All right, so that actually was taken the day after the midterm elections, which was last Tuesday, and that was Morning Joe. And as you saw, that was Al Sharpton and Simone Sanders. I couldn't think of her name, and a couple other people that were sitting up there with Joe Scarborough, and I think it was Minka, his wife. Now,
Yeah, Mika Brzezinski. Yeah,
that's his wife. So anyway, they were talking about her candidacy, or the lack thereof. She was running for the Georgia state governor against Brian Kemp, which she lost twice. In 2018, she ran and lost, and this time she ran and lost. But they, on the panel, and a lot of other people are likening her to Moses in the Bible, who delivered their people to the promised land. And as Joe said to Al Sharpton, the Jews, Moses delivered the Jews. And so again, Simone Sanders was like, bringing up the fact that she is a black woman, I guess, saying that she is strong and this, that, and the other. Then Al goes on to say that Ossoff, Warnock, and Biden have Stacey Abrams to thank, being that I guess they're equating it that she changed Georgia from red to blue, even though they have a red governor, Republican governor, if you will. And so I have a lot of questions. Now, this is not the only narrative about her being Moses. April Ryan of the Griot said that Stacey Abrams is still a winner. Jonathan Capehart? Oh, no, I don't think it was him, or somebody else, who also basically said she was a winner, even though she did not win. She helped everybody else get to where they've gotten. Of course, Stacey has conceded that Brian Kemp won. I think she conceded that night or the day after or something like that. And so I guess she's very heartbroken about not winning. But she says, even though I didn't win, that don't mean that I stopped fighting to help democracy, if you will, to save and preserve democracy. Also, as we know, the Republicans were denied their red wave, if you will. It was speculated that a lot of the seats in the country would flip over blue and turn red, and the Republicans will have the Senate, which they do not. Will they have the House? It kind of sounds like maybe, but then they said the same thing about the Senate. So I guess there's some numbers that are still out that remains to be seen whether they'll control the House as well. But for right now, the Senate belongs to the Democrats. And so, like I said, I have some questions. Donovan, what say you?
Again, if you're listening to an Al Sharpton or Simone Mammy Sanders, obviously you don't know much about politics, because these people are put there and get their money, as well as Roly Poly Martin. They get their money from the Democratic Party, delivering Democratic votes. So in America and in sports, there is no second place. Either you win or you lose. The second time she ran in the recent election that she ran, she conceded immediately because she got blown out by 10 points. There's no way you could deny that. You just got blown out. The question we should be asking ourselves is, what changed in 4 years to where she went from losing by almost 60,000 votes to losing by almost 1 million? And I put a tweet out the other day that had said, do you guys realize Herschel Walker, we're just talking about the state of Georgia. We're not talking nationally, okay, you guys? This is the state of Georgia. Do you guys realize Herschel Walker got more votes than Stacey Abrams? So whatever her work she did, and I took some notes down. The first thing I'm going to ask is, the Democratic Party is the promised land? To who? To who? I've been saying on your show, Demetra, for months, if you research the Democratic Party, it was a party started based on white supremacy, based on racism, and it's still doing that to this very, very day. So, and anybody that wants to debate me on that, please contact me. That's just a fact. The Democratic Party has never been for Black people. And how do I know that? Actions are louder than words. We've been voting Democrat for over 70, 80 years. Consistently in the high 90s. And what have Black people gotten for it? Absolutely nothing. So the Democratic Party is the promised land. Of course, a bootlick like Al Sharpton would say that. Who benefits from the Democratic votes that Stacey Abrams garnered in all those years? Black folks didn't obviously have not benefited from it, because we got them in there. We didn't get the $2,000. The only person that benefited from Stacey Abrams' work is the Democratic Party itself. We didn't get qualified immunity. I can go on and on and on about what Black people did not get and who actually is benefiting from her hard work. It definitely isn't Black people. And again, I'm going to just say, for the thing about Stacey Abrams, that everybody wants to deal with a participation trophy. We're in a society where, oh, you didn't win, but here's your trophy for playing. No, that isn't how politics works. Politics is very brutal. And that's why I love it. And I love the game of politics. They're saying, like Keisha Lance Bottoms, she might be brought into the Biden administration. As you guys know, the Biden administration purged itself of a lot of its Black bootlicks. in regards to that one guy, that one brother from Louisiana. He's gone. Simone Sanders is gone. A lot of the top people that got the Democrats and got the Biden administration into office, he has booted them out and they're gone. And Keisha Lance Bottom has come in and got a little position because somebody told her, we don't want you for mayor. And so she walked out. So for Stacey, maybe there's a position for her in the Biden administration, because if you guys remember, after she lost 4 years ago, she was slated to be the VP. And how many of you guys remember on MSNBC, there was a special announcement where candidate Biden had asked her to come on the show specifically. And it was presumed that she was going to be given the VP position. And Joe Biden just told her, great job you did in Atlanta, Stacey. We appreciate it. Keep up the good work. And you could just see the break on her face. It was horrifying for me. And I'm not like gloating about it. I'm saying to put her on a national platform and a national stage and to humiliate her the way she did was horrifying. But you know what? From the Democratic Party, I'm not surprised.
Absolutely. So yes, as I said, I have questions. Now, of course, they are likening her, Stacey Abrams, to Moses, saying that she is a winner. But I don't know, because when I think about Moses delivering his people, and of course that's biblical, so it depended on if you believe in the Bible, whatever. But let's just say that you do. Moses is somebody who delivered his people to the promised land. The promised land, things were supposed to be better for them, away from the tyranny and everything else that they were experiencing before they got to the promised land, right? So then my question is, who was she supposed to be delivering to the promised land? Because they're saying, oh, she delivered, people to the promised land. But so are they talking about the Democrats, people who are Democrats, or the American people? Are they talking about Black people? Who are they talking about, right? Because when I think of somebody going to the promised land, I'm thinking of saying, whoo, oh, everything is so much better here. Oh, gosh, I'm so happy we're here. Now, if you ask me, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but if they're saying that she's delivering everybody or she's delivered people to the promised land, well, I don't feel like I'm in the promised land. Nothing has changed for me as an American or as an American Black woman, especially, right? So what did I get for Stacey Abrams in her hard work? And listen, I'm not saying she did not work hard, but what results did she work hard to get? Was it to continue the Democrats staying in power to help everybody else that is, here? What do we not mean by everybody else? The Asians, Hispanics, LGBTQ, and the Afghans, the Ukrainians, and everybody else you could think of, right? So everybody else has been helped by her, because he said, Sharpton, that Biden can thank her too, right? So Stacey Abrams helped Biden get to the White House. But Biden has helped everybody else. So are we as Black people included in that promised land? What are we reaping from being there, right? What did Stacey do for Black people? And unfortunately, that was the question that she can never answer. Even when she was asked about reparations, it's like, I don't think so. She pretty much sounded like that of Kamala Harris when she says, I'm not going to just do anything for Black people. Stacey Abrams mirrored almost the words word for word. So when I hear somebody like Al Sharpton, who is now a complete political flunky for the Democratic Party, right? He started off as a civil rights person and all that, but now he's just full on a hooker for the Democratic Party, right? So when I hear him say that she's delivered people to the promised land, well, who are you talking about, Al? Are you talking like with Black people? Like, do we count in this? Because as you also know, they accuse Black men. They try to, right? They tried to accuse Black men of not showing up for Stacey, but then when the receipts came out, they said, no, it wasn't Black men, because Black men pretty much did vote overwhelmingly for the Democrats. But then when they showed the numbers again, it was the Hispanics. It was about 50-50, give or take, voting for Kemp, and then everywhere else. And then, of course, white people showed out, and most of the people who voted, the white voters in Georgia, voted for that of Brian Kemp. It's a fact. And so they had to drop that narrative. But unfortunately, before that narrative was dispelled, they being the backbone of the Democratic Party, it was mostly them. I didn't hear too many white people saying, "Oh, black men, y'all, they didn't show up for the backbone of the Democratic Party, which is the black woman." She had to fall up off of that. I even saw Jamel Hill, who's Democrat sports figure or whatever. She even was like, "Oh, well, it was the Hispanics that did," and they was like, "Nah, sister, nah, no, don't you try it, because you are the biggest adversary, one of them, of black men. You spend a lot of time firing on black men, so don't try to act like you wasn't running along with the nonsense that it was black men. You was doing it too." And so I have questions. Who's been delivered to the promised land? Because I surely don't feel like I'm in the promised land.
Right. Was it the promised land or the slaughterhouse? Because even though they have so supposedly avoided a red wave, which everybody was anticipating historically, usually a red wave should have come with the way the economy is and gas and taxing and pricing. People should have rose up, but they, whatever. They still lost the House. So again, as we've said in previous shows, this is the Democratic playbook. Democratic or Republican, it doesn't matter. A lot of people are going to sit up here, Dimitri, and always say that, "Oh, we must be Republicans." No, we're not Republicans. We're independent voters, and we think for ourselves. But you've got the bird with two different wings, a left wing and a right wing, right? They both share power together. They both uphold white supremacy. So do you think about it, nobody's talking about the fact that they lost the House. So what does that mean for black people? That means anything that we want, we can't get. If the Republicans gain the House, which it looks more likely like that's going to happen, it's going to be a very razor thin number. I think it's like 5 seats is going to be the difference. 5 seats. That's how divided this country is now. 5 seats. So the Republicans get it. The Democrats have held the Senate. What legislation could Biden, even if in his racist mind, would want to do for black people? This is what he's going to tell you. Well, we could have got qualified. I mean, we could do this stuff for black people, but unfortunately, we were obstructed. And what they're going to tell you is the solution: to vote more Democrats in. But wait a minute. But wait, there's more. For 2 years, you had everything. Everybody else got a bill. The Asians got a bill. The Hispanics, the DACA people got a bill. The Jews got a bill. Everybody got money. Ukraine, the Afghans, people that aren't even citizens, they all got something for 2 years. And you did it within the first 45 days. Go back and look at some of Dimitri's shows where we were talking about the first 45 days, Joe Biden was just ramming stuff through. But when it comes to black people, now it's the Obama playbook. Well, I know I should have done a lot more. I wish I could have done, but I was obstructed. So when you got obstruction, you got to do, there's nothing I can do. My hands are basically tied. So right now we have until January 8th, I believe, is the new Congress takes effect. January 8th or January, something like that. So now you have a lame duck session of Congress. Are the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and them, scrambling to put up black issues that need to go? We can't even get HR 40. Can they give us HR 40 even though that's nothing? We can't even get that. Can they ram that through while they got a chance? No, they're going to sit on their hands and they're going to say, "You got it. We got those Negroes." Once again, they fell for it once again. Mute.
I was going to say, y'all, forgive me if I'm freezing up. Sometimes the internet does what it wants to do around here. I think I'm all right right now. So, yeah. So, as far as Stacey Abrams is concerned, because we're going to move on to the next topic. I mean, is she a Moses? It depends on who you ask. If you're Afghan, Ukrainian, Hispanic, LGBTQ, and everybody else, yeah, I'm sure they'll say, yes, she helped deliver us to the promised land. We're doing so much better. But if you black people, it's like, hell no. We still under the leadership of Pharaoh. Okay, we still getting the whip cracked on our back in America. So no, I don't think Stacey Abrams is a Moses. But again, that's that whole symbolism thing that they like to do and give black people. Woo, child, she a Moses. She delivered us. And most Negroes won't say, well, delivered us to where? Delivered us what? They won't do it. They'll just get all wrapped up into the symbolic, nature of it and won't even take it to the next level. So as I said, don't fall for the okie doke. Stacey Abrams ain't a Moses to black people. She's not. She's a Moses to everybody else. And so we're going to move to the next topic.
And real quick, just before we move, that kind of reminds me of Jennifer Lewis, the actress, the actor. This woman is on something, I don't know what it is, but she is on the Democratic train. It's crazy.
She on the Democratic plantation, and she is the head butter biscuiter in charge. All right, so here we go. Let's go on to the next topic. I'm gonna put this up here. Okay, so what we are about to watch is that of Tamara Johnson Shealy, and she is going to tell us about her experience. Now, I sped it up. It was originally like 4 minutes long or so, but I sped it up. So if you're wondering why does it seem like she's talking fast, it's because I sped it up. But she's going to tell us about her experience, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more background about her. So here we go.
Let me tell you what happened to me. So I'm sitting at my desk, and I hear a banging on my door. Banging on my door. Scared me to death. Scared me. So when I hear this banging on my door, I freeze. I just sat there. I look downstairs because I can see my door from my desk. I look downstairs, and there's a white man with a beard looking in my window. I'm scared. He continues to bang on my door. It stopped for about 10 seconds. I get up. I tiptoe to the front of my house, upstairs, so that I can look down and see who the hell this is beating on my door. I can see his car on my driveway. He continues to bang on my door. I call the police. It takes forever to get the police on the line, but they finally get on the line, talk to the 911 operator. She says she's in the car. The banging stops. I tiptoe back down the hallway. I think he's gone. I tiptoe down the steps, and he was gone. Let me tell y'all what's happening with me. Most of you know I am very private. I don't bring my personal life into politics. I don't bring my family, my friends. I don't bring them into this. But my ex-husband passed away while I was on the campaign trail this past April. In the midst of my campaign, he passed. He passed away, and he did not have a will. A will has appeared in probate, and my home is attached to this probate matter. The attorney behind this probate matter is an attorney who is an insider. His name is Steve Riley, in the Democratic Party of Georgia. He represents the individuals who have fraudulently submitted a will into probate. This ain't personal. This is political. And I want you to understand that the Georgia Democratic Party, the operatives, they know what they're doing. This is a hit. It's a hit. This party, the Georgia Democratic Party, is rotten at its core. It's corrupt. And the good pastor, Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, knows who they are and how they operate. He knows. He knows. So I have not had the best day, but I'm not going to be quiet about what is happening to me. They know it. I didn't want to have to come and have this conversation and tell you that I'm being targeted, but I am.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tamara Johnson Shealy. She ran for the Senate, and she actually opposed that of Ralph Warnock during the primaries in 2020, and then again in 2022. Now, remember, 2020 was a runoff, or it was actually to finish, I guess, the Senate bid of the last person, and so she was challenging for that, and she lost. And she challenged him again in 2022. During the primaries, he got about, says 96% of the vote. She got 4% of the vote out of about 730,000 votes that came in. Out of 21 candidates, she came in number 6. So some people say, well, it wasn't really striking distance, but it wasn't that bad, right? All right, enough to bring enough.
And Ralph Warnock refused to debate her.
Right. And we actually interviewed her twice on the Demetra K show. Very lovely lady. Another thing that's interesting about Miss Sheely Johnson Sheely is that she is for reparations. She actually helped lead, she was a lead advocate, I should say, of the Georgia reparations bill, HB 541, that says, hey, run Black people their money for chattel slavery, right? And so she has not bitten her tongue about the need of reparations for Black people here in America. So as y'all heard her say, she feels like she is being targeted. Didn't kind of say why, but I guess we'll kind of speculate a little bit. But she also invoked the name of Reverend Senator Ralph Warnock, and she says that he knows what's going on and that the Georgia Democratic Party is rotten to the core and that they are targeting her. She said it's not personal, it's definitely political. Also, the scary part about the white man looking up in her window and all of that. And I'm like, ain't Georgia? Don't they got some sort of like a castle doctrine thing? But I don't know. I'm just asking, you know. Anyway, this man is looking in her window, so she seems to be very frightened about that. So we want to bring awareness to it, but also we want to talk about why might they be targeting her? And if she says the good reverend, he knows about it. Is he cool with that? Where in the Bible does it say you're supposed to be doing that to people? And she called him the opposition in the streets. They call that the ops. She called Ralph Warnock the opposition. So what's going on, Donovan?
Well, you know, it is so sad that that she's going through this because she's a good friend of ours on the show and stuff. And I reached out to her and let her know that I saw the video and things like that, and told her I would ask some questions in regards. But she appreciated us reaching out to her and checking on her, which is very important. You know, this is nothing new here in my city. And, you know, it kind of bothers me when I hear people talk about these two parties as if these two parties are so omnipotent that they could do no wrong. With all the corruption that goes on in both parties that you can find and stuff, it's not just about money. Okay, politics is about power. Number one, it's about power and influence. Those are the two main reasons why people get into politics. It is no secret that 96% of all of your congressmen are millionaires. That's no secret. That's no secret. It's a money thing there. Influence, money. And even at the local level here, when I talk about issues that go on in my city, okay, we're talking about a $3.2 billion world logistics center that they want to build here, right? People have been killed for a butter biscuit, okay? And my mom always would, you know, and being a mother, you know, she's kind of concerned about that because, you know, hey, you're getting into some serious stuff. People have been killed for lesser. And she's absolutely right. But then I told my mom, I said, wait a minute, when I went to Desert Storm, Afghanistan and Iraq, you had no problem with me going over there, put my life on the line, but I come home and make a stand. Now you're worried. But I guess that's just a mother's thing. So I would always tell people sometimes, is it feasible that these two parties can work in a mafia-style system? Think about it. I ran for office. Why is it that as a loyal Democrat, which I was, I would go there and I have to go in front of this board just to get support? They pick and choose who their capos are and who they want to run and how they do it. Look at how these parties operate and look at how the mafia operates. What's the difference? Can we use RICO against either of these parties? Absolutely. And so that's why I always tell people that run for office, I got to give you a lot of respect because you're putting your life on the line. You're putting your life, your living, you know, everything. And they come at you to intimidate you and all this stuff. They don't want you in the race. You will be visited by people or forces will come against you in regards to making sure you're not going to win the race. When a third party rises, why is it that both parties, even though they're ideologically opposed to each other, supposedly, they come together to down the third party? That would be a RICO statute, if you're asking me. So when people say like the Democratic Party is this party for the Black people, whatever, really ask yourself, is it? Is it? Show me, and I challenge anybody. Show me in the last 60 years, just the last 60, where the Democrats have tangibly done something specific for Black people. And I'm going to challenge, and I'll put my dog on the line and say it hasn't happened. And so for her to go through this the way that she's going, it's unfortunate, but it's going to take people like her that have the courage and the muster, that are willing to put themselves on the line to fight power. And if the Reverend Ralph Warnock, which I think, and this is my personal opinion, a pastor that is involved in politics is not a pastor. He's of something else. That is not godly. That's just my opinion. I'm very sure he's aware of what's going on. And as we've seen, Herschel Walker has exposed him as a liar. There's no such thing, in my opinion, as a pro-choice pastor. There's no such thing. That goes against the Bible. These people are party first. Al Sharpton, Simone Sanders, these people are Democrats first. They're not Black first. I'm very sure he's aware of what's going on. And like the demon that I think he is, he doesn't care. He wants power at all costs.
Yeah. So, again, I want to say these are allegations. We are just reporting what Miss Sheely has said. That's going on. And of course, let's address the other thing she said about there's a will. Her ex-husband died while she was on the campaign trail. He died without a will, but then she says mysteriously a will comes to play, and her house is attached in that will probate. So it sounds like maybe her house is being challenged in regards to maybe being taken away from her. But she says that the lawyer that's involved in the case with the will is also an insider to that of the Georgia Democratic Party. So she's like, basically, this is not a coincidence, y'all. Come on, let's do some math around here. Because, there'll be some people saying, well, I don't know about that. How we know? I mean, it's like, come on now. Sometimes we got to be able to follow the breadcrumbs that are on the ground, right? Where do they actually lead to? Where are they coming from? But if you ask me, why she may be being targeted, just my opinion, I think it has a lot to do with, because as I said before, there was 21 other candidates in the primaries along with that, and her and Ralph Warnock. But I think that Tamara was the one that had the most notoriety. And not only did she have the most notoriety, she was the one that was actually speaking up for the needs of Black people. And she still is, right? She was actually the one that was out there saying, hey, our people need reparations, reparations. And I think a lot of people in the Democratic Party the higher ups, as Donovan say, the power makers and all those people, they don't want people to be out there talking like that, because for one, they don't want Black people to say, yeah, we need something too. Yeah, that's right. They don't want Black people to say that. They want Black people to be comfortable with getting nothing and have your Roland Martins and your Tiffany Crosses and your Jamel Hills and your Brittany Coopers and all those people out there telling y'all, well, the Democrats are doing something for you. If you don't vote for the Democrats, the Republicans gonna get in office and you ain't really gonna be screwed. So that's the messages that they want us to continue to inculcate, right? That, the Democrats are the party of Black people. But then you have Tamara that's coming in and interjecting what what we call the grassroots Black people. We ain't talking about the ones that's getting the butter biscuits. We ain't talking about the ones in the house.
The field and the house Negroes, yeah.
Well, we talking about the ones that's in the field, okay? That they don't want her to echo those sentiments, because we're like, listen, y'all want our vote? Y'all need to give us something. Y'all done gave everybody else something. So Tamara has a platform, and she's been on a lot of things, interviewing and really getting the message out. And so I think, as I said before, she was one of the most notable candidates that was opposing Ralph Warnock, that was like, yeah, that's cute in what he is saying. And she also was not a stranger to taking Ralph Warnock to task and saying that he is not for reparations. And, the other stuff that Ralph Warnock does, but does not do for Black people. She brings up that he's sitting in Martin Luther King's church, but does not think that Black people should have what Martin Luther King ultimately died for, and that was a check. So she has been very out front calling Ralph Warnock to the carpet. Also, we've seen a lot of people whether it was Biden, Kamala, Obama, and everybody go out there, even in this last race against Herschel, that's still, now they have to have a runoff. A lot of heavy hitters went out there to get Ralph Warnock back in the seat. And so they don't need anybody to cause a disturbance. And the other thing is, who's to say that she won't be back in 6 years if Ralph Warnock gets the seat? She probably will. And so it could be some intimidation like, hey, you know what? We need to make you go away. We need to break you. And now, as far as Ralph Warnock, being a pastor and he's above the fray, well, if you see his tweets on Twitter, he talks a lot of mad stuff about Herschel, talking about his abortions and, lying and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, that doesn't sound very pastorally. Doesn't sound pastorally at all. He's also engaging in what you call the Tanya Harding tactics, where he's trying to hit Herschel in the knees. And listen, I'm not saying I'm for either one of them. I'm just telling you what I see. And so for people to say, oh, Ralph Warnock, he's a darling, sweetheart, he's so nice. No, he's not. He wants that seat by any means necessary. And I ain't talking like Malcolm X style. I'm talking about I'll do whatever I need to do to get in that seat. And if that means moving somebody like Tamara Johnson-Shealy out of the way, then I'm on board with it. I'm not saying he's saying that. I'm saying this is what my opinion, that he would be on board with that. Let's get her out the way. Let's stop having her gin up the mob about reparations, because those Negroes ain't getting it. They're not getting it from Stacey if she was in the governorship. They're not getting it from Ralphie or any other Negro that's sitting in the Senate, even though they talk about H.R. 40. When the last time you heard them talk about H.R. 40? Last time I heard H.R. 40 mentioned was Roland Martin, when he says, you Negroes ain't getting that if the Republicans get in. Well, we ain't getting it no way, because all it is a study. And what if they study it and say, we don't think they should get reparations? It's still not putting no food on our table. And so I don't know. That's my opinion. I think that's why they're doing it to her.
And my thing is, okay, now Stacey Abrams, who's from Georgia and ran for the governorship, if this actually is going on in the Democratic Party, she is a major player in the Democratic Party. And I'm very sure, as you know, in politics, we all kind of keep our ears to the street to kind of know what other candidates are doing, stuff like that. So I'm very sure Stacey Abrams is aware, hopefully, that she's aware. I can't assume that she knows, but hopefully she's aware that this is going on to Sister Girl. Where is the sisterhood in protecting our Black women if this actually is happening? I don't know the whole gist of what's happening, because I'm in California, Demetrius in Texas, but where are the men coming to our sister's defense or whatever to make sure she's safe and all this other stuff? I'm sure there's a lot of things that go with it in regard to that. And again, I'm speculating, in my opinion, if Ralph Warnock, who is a senator, if he's aware of what's going on. I'm very sure, if he is, if he isn't, I don't know. But if he is aware, he should make a statement and put a stop to it. But I'm telling you guys, this is how these parties move. They move like the mafia. How do I know? I ran for office. When you run for office, you will experience forces that are totally beyond your control, that will come into play and do all these things. And if you think about it, now that election has gone to a runoff, politically, and I'm thinking with my political hat on, it does make sense to target her, because like you said, that Senate race is so close. Herschel should have been blown out. But obviously, there are people in Georgia that have woken up and said, we didn't get this, we didn't get that, we didn't get that. A person that garnered 4% of the national vote, the state vote in Georgia, like Tamara Johnson-Shealy, could be the factor between Warnock getting in and Warnock not getting in. She garnered 4% of the vote. So obviously 4% of the electorate agreed with her and her platform. So it would make sense that they would put pressure on her to scare her off and get her off message so that Ralph Warnock could get in there. So that's just me speculating on that, because it does make sense. She got 4%. She was the number 6 Democrat in the primary, whatever. So that would make sense. That 4% is so important. It is important. It could be the difference between Ralph Warnock getting in office and him not getting in office.
And before we move on to the other topic, but if this message spreads, and I think that it should, so people can know, that's not going to make people want to vote for Ralph even more if they feel like the sister is in fear of her life. Like, why, whoever it is, let's assume it is the Democratic Party. Why y'all sending people to her house? What is that supposed to do? Was he supposed to try to come in? Like, what was he supposed to do to her or whatever? And so the other thing is, and I did tweet about that. I said, to Joy Reid, Jamel Hill, Tiffany Cross, Angela Rye, and all the other backbones of the Democratic Party that have a platform. Where y'all at? You got a Black woman who is saying, I'm being targeted by the Democratic Party of Georgia. Where y'all at to say, stop it? Hey, this needs to be investigated. Y'all have a bigger platform than we do. So as I asked too, are y'all any good for Black people? Actually, are y'all backbones really good for Black people? Or are you only good for helping other people get stuff from the Democratic Party? And so I think that this should spread. I think we should share this message that, Miss Sheely Johnson is afraid and, probably in fear of her life. And she is saying that as the Georgia Democratic Party and that Ralph Warnock is in the know. That is how they get down. People should be able to run for office. It's their right to do so. She wants to seek public office. She should be able to do that without being in fear of her life. And so, I don't know. We're going to follow this and see what happens from this. But yeah, she definitely deserves for this to get out there and people know about it.
And real quick, if I remember right from when we interviewed her, she knows Ralph Warnock kind of personally. They went to the same school or something like that, or
I think he went to Morehouse,
or something. But they, what I'm saying is, she would know how this man moves because they have some kind of interlinking,
same circles or something.
Yeah, same circle or something like that. So just let people know.
Yeah, so we gonna see. So anyway, let's move on to the next topic. We're gonna lighten it up a little bit. I saw this actually on the Ricky Smiley show, or actually it was his feed or something like that. And I thought it was funny. I was like, well, this will be a good topic to kind of, lighten it up and close it out with. Now, as you can see here, so I don't know where it actually came from, but he posted, it says, them Cougars cut you off after one missed call. Dang, Medea, I was asleep. So that's where I guess the guy that got cut off is saying, I was asleep. And so I thought about it. I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't know what age a cougar is. I'm 51. I don't know if I'm quite a cougar yet, but then maybe I am. I don't know. But I thought about it. I was like, well, yeah, if you were a cougar, that means you're a younger man to some degree. And Medea, this cougar, she ain't with stuff. Don't come playing these games and, all of that other stuff, So I guess
what you doing? What WYD?
So I guess she's saying, per this thing here, I just want to clarify that I guess maybe she called him and he's saying, I was asleep. Like, wow, I didn't see your call. But the cougar's been around long enough to know, nah, y'all young, tenderonis, you young bucks, y'all don't usually have your phone, on your lap at all times. You know what I'm saying? You have your phone with you. You don't even know where I was going with that, being from California. Y'all don't be without y'all phones. And so she's basically saying, I doubt very seriously that you missed that phone call. Listen, I ain't got time to play games with you, boo-boo. Therefore, go on and play with your mama or them young girls, but don't play with me. So, Donovan, what you think about that?
Well, in defense of my amandum, maybe he was asleep. Maybe he was asleep. So I'm not gonna turn against my mandum. Okay, we got to stay on code, brothers. We got to stay on code. Yes, he was sleeping. He had worked hard all day. He was sleeping, but man. Okay, all right. I'll be serious now. Yes, brothers. Let me tell you, especially younger cats, younger Thundercats. When you're dealing with an older woman, they've been there, they've done that, been through it. It is best to go ahead and just be straight up with them and tell them exactly what it is, what you want, and where you're going, than waste their time and possibly get that old school cutting that they're used to have, that some of them are used to having that blade in their purse and stuff like that. So, and especially now, because now I would say, Demetra, a lot of our compadres, they're all grandparents and stuff like that. So we would be in that age circle of, you would be considered a cougar if you dated a younger man type stuff. So I just think that because our generation is a little bit more advanced than the previous generation, which like it's supposed to be in regards to being, especially you women being more freer, more independent, more strong. You know, you guys aren't going to put up with certain things. And I'm going to tell these young brothers, trust me, you don't want to mess with these women like that because they know what they want. They know how they want it, and they're going to go get it one way or the other. You're not going to act it right. They are well aware they can get somebody that will. So brothers, if you're going to be playing these games with these women, that game won't last long at all.
It surely will not. It's not. And so, you know, I know that was supposed to be lighthearted, but for real, you know, a lot of times, and I know it's women too, you know, that play games, but I'm coming from an older woman. God, I can't believe I just said that. An older woman's point of view. And we don't want to be played games with. Period. You know, we'll give you a shot. But after that, it's like, nah, because, you know, more than likely a cougar has been through all of that before. She'd have been through that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, Lord knows I've been through that. Oh, I didn't know you called, or I was asleep, and oh, you know, I was in a bad area for 24 hours, Negro. You didn't get no signal for 20. So I know what that's like to have somebody play games with you. I tell y'all about my ex-husband, married for 10 months. I'm gonna always say that behind that. Married for 10 months. He had every excuse you could think of. Hey, I was trying to reach you. I've been trying to reach you since yesterday. Oh, well, you know, I was in it because he was a truck driver. I was in a bad area, you know, was no signal. They sent me up into the crevices in the mountains and the this and the that, and I couldn't get no signal. Oh, really? Dispatch couldn't reach you? You mean to tell me you was off in BF Egypt with no signal? And Negro, I know you. I know you got to be on your phone all the time. And if you didn't have no signal, how did you post this on Facebook a couple of hours ago? Or, you know, sometime yesterday, but I couldn't reach you. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, I've been there. I've done that. And I tell y'all the story all the time. That's actually how I called my ex-husband up. This Negro, you know how they say truck drivers have one in every state? He probably had one in every city. Okay? Every city, every bayou, every township, every half a city, every city hall. He had a
I mean, was he that attractive or what was it?
It depends on who you ask. Now, if you asking the 51-year-old Demetra opposed to the 39-year-old Demetra, hell to the mother, no, bald-headed fool. You know what I'm saying? For real, no shade to bald-headed men. But he was right. He is a special bald-headed fool, you know. And then when I look back, I'm like, what was wrong with you, Demetra? Was you having an extra low self-esteem moment? Did he come to you at the time where you just really felt like you needed a friend? And I ain't gonna lie. He had the gift to gab. I mean, oh, you my world, you my girl. That's why I always tell y'all, when a man talk about I'm looking for a God-fearing woman, a woman that loves God, and oh, I just love the Lord, run. Get your flojo on, girl. Get your flojo on.
No. Let me ask you this real quick. Now, you're a highly educated woman, and I don't know his educational background.
None.
What could you guys have possibly? Because I met him a couple of times. What could you guys? I mean, you know how I felt when you guys met. It was like I knew this was a mismatch. I said, "Wait a minute, how? What could you guys possibly?" Because, like, okay, as intelligent as you are, and as intelligent as I am. And on the education level, we bump heads just on systematic things. I'm thinking, what could this guy, who's nowhere on my level, I can't, compare to anybody, he's not on my level, what could you have possibly seen in that guy?
Can I be 100 with y'all women and men out there? He was no different than a lot of men out there as far as I'm concerned. He had the gift of gab. He tells you everything you want to hear. And, I'm never going to break your heart. See that one right there? When the Negro say he ain't never, y'all see, I flossed my teeth a lot, but I was actually envisioning him and I was using it as a weapon. Like, because I still get hot under the collar when I think about him. But you know that part, oh, I never break your heart. Oh, I know I ain't never cheated on nobody. So somebody tell me something like that, that's when both of my eyebrows go up like, because I've been told that by every man I've been on. I never cheated. I would never cheat. Oh, I would never cheat on you. And what do? They cheat. So yeah, but he wasn't like unlike any other man. But I think too, really, I think for him, not that I was no hooker, but I think he had those pimp vibes, you know, because when I found out all the women, look, it wasn't just me. He did put a ring on my finger, but then it sounded like he was trying to do that to some other women too. But he had a lot of women, and so he had the gift of gab, really to tell you what I guess what you want to hear. And listen, when I always tell y'all, I'm not talking about him and not put myself on the hook, because I really should have really did my due diligence, which I will do now. I'm to the point now, man, Negro getting nothing over on me. If you sound like you a clown, if I hear the squeaky horn and I see your nose a little bit too red, I'm like, nah, you got clown vibes. I'm good. But, you know, back then my radar at 39 years old was just, you know, I was still learning and growing and things like that. And I fell in love with the idea of somebody actually being nice to me. And, you know, he was nice. Don't get me wrong. He was nice.
Chicago brother, right? Chicago, right?
Yeah, smooth operator. He was nice. Anything I needed, you know, here you go. You know, go buy yourself something nice. And my daughter here, buy yourself something nice. He sent money. And he was just, you know, that dude. So not that it was about money, but he was really nice. And so I didn't really start getting the red flags until I moved to Illinois, because, you know, he was a truck driver. That's where I am, you know, I'm Chicago. Come out there. So I did. And then, you know, he wasn't acting right. And then I moved back home. And then he was like, okay, I'll act right. So then that's how I ended up in Texas the first time. Ended up in Texas. And then, you know, that's when he was like, oh, I want to get married. And I was like, nah, I really don't want to. Because I already knew. But I thought maybe the dude was going to act right. When got married, guess where we went for our honeymoon?
The turkey leg cut?
Whataburger. Went to Whataburger. That should have been a red flag right there. Went to Whataburger, whatever, you know, fine. Because he went back.
No, for real. You went to Whataburger.
I kid you not.
He couldn't even take you to Papa Do's?
It wasn't about the money part.
No, but I'm just saying, come on, you only get married 3-4 times in a lifetime.
It didn't really bother me about Whataburger, because at that point I knew he wasn't gonna last. So I was like, let's not really do nothing major. But you know, when I went back home, my family, we went to the Ritz-Carlton, because you know, as my family, we, you know, they wanted to celebrate, even though they was like, do we have to? Plus, I had just graduated, you know, college and stuff. So we celebrated that way. You know, my family gonna do it right. But yeah, it was just I knew I didn't want to get married, but I did. And then so it got worse when we was in Texas, got really bad. Sometimes I wouldn't see him for 30 days at a time. And, you know, then the money on his end was coming up short. They screwing over my check, all the dispatch, this, that, and the other. And then one day his paycheck stub came home. It came home. So I opened it. And I was like, wait a minute now. It's 2 accounts on here. 2 accounts. One was his regular account. A portion of the money his check was going to his account. And then another portion was going to another account. I'm like,
that was his baby's account.
No. So I did some investigative research, because I used to work at Chase Bank. These were Chase accounts. And it turns out that it was going to the account of another woman. So I questioned him about it, and he said, oh, it must have been an accident. I'm like, nigga, I almost said the hard N-word.
The banks don't make mistakes like that.
And then so I figured out who the girl was somebody he was talking to, and then it was an accident and all that. So at that point, I was like, oh, hell to the no. Hell, because, you know, my family didn't even really know what I was going through. Call my mama. Call my sister. My daughter knew, because she had came and visited, and it was bad. And when she got on that plane, I kid you not, she says, Mom, if you are not back in California at the end of this year, she says, I'm never speaking to you again. That's how bad it was. And so I said, don't worry, I'm gonna be right behind you, because I already knew. Call my mama. And at that time too, financially, I wasn't doing good, because I was trying to keep everything afloat because his money was missing, his money. And listen, I'm telling y'all that I know somebody looking at me like, damn, Demetri, stupid. Yes, I was stupid. But I'm telling you, I like to share my experiences with y'all so y'all would know that you're not alone if you've ever been in that situation. And I did it from a good place. You know what I'm saying? So I was struggling really bad trying to pay the bills and stuff. And,
and I was in Spring, Texas at the same time, around the same time.
Yeah, but we didn't know, right? Now, mind you, I tried to get a job. Very educated. Every time I would go somewhere, they'd be like, well, you're overeducated, you're overly experienced and this, that, and the other. I could not get a job for nothing. I even went down to try to get me at the, what did you call it? The dollar store. And I was like, I don't know about that one, though. But needless to say, I could not get a job. So finally, my sister calls me. She says, on my Christmas break, because she's a teacher, I'm flying there. She says, have all of that house, everything you need packed up. You meet me at the airport, pick me up, and we're driving straight to California. My mama, and I tell y'all this story all the time. A lot of times it involves me with tears because my mom is no longer here. But she gave me money. She said, get that car oiled up, get the tires changed, get everything. I want y'all to get here safely. And so I did. And he came out there, oh, I'm sorry, this, that, and the other. I knew I wasn't going back. But he came and stole the car because the car was in his name. He only wanted to come get the car. So he took the car where he was. He had met a new woman. They was in Georgia. And she had called me actually before I left and told me that's my man now. I knew him from elementary school. So I knew him first. And I was like, all right, this is a lot. So when I get down to get back to California, I'm getting myself mentally better. Me and my homegirl Sharon, we on the mountain. And Donovan to tell you, I got sexy. I got too skinny. But anyway, so one day the girl calls me. She calls me. I'm on the mountain with my friend, and she says, I ain't gonna tell y'all the names. The man's name is Voldemort. I call him Voldemort, the character from Harry Potter, the man that you don't say his name. I just wanted to talk to you because, it seemed like he still want to be with you. I said, that ain't got nothing to do with me. What you calling me? Whoa, I don't want him back. Well, he always talk about you. Well, I'm unforgettable, baby. What's the problem? So she was saying, well, I just want to know, what can I do? And I put it on speaker so my friend can hear. I'm like, ain't this a bitch? You asking me what you can do to keep this loser? Oh, I tried to tell you if he was cheating on me with you, he was going to do the same thing to you. So turns out that's what he was doing. Then, see, this is why I say I'm tying it into why I couldn't get a job, because God works in mysterious ways. Even with him coming to steal the car, okay? It was his, but, he left me with no transportation. So he calls me one day. Now, mind you, I had the car insured. He had his name. I had a phone for him on my stuff. I cut all that stuff off. Cut it all off. The towing, everything, cut it all off. He called me, says, oh, the car is, it broke down. And I need to get it towed. I was like, why are you calling me? Call your she-bear. Call her. Tell her to put it on her back and y'all tow it. I don't know. What you want me to do? Well, I tried to call the towing, but it's cut off. I said, you want me to continue to pay for you to get you in the benefits? I said, no, sir. So then he called me a whole bunch of names and stuff. And then I thought about it. I said, God, I see you. I said, I couldn't get a job in Texas because I wasn't supposed to stay in Texas. I said, you allowed this fool to come get the car long enough to drive where he needed to drive, break it on down so he could not come back. I said, I want to thank you. And then he would call me. I'm just trying to, I want to get back with you. I said, I know you do, but I said, I'm good. I know what I'm signing up for. I said, third time ain't going to be no charm for me. So then he called me a couple other choice names. And, then I went on about the business of being, even a better person and all that. But I say all that to say, as far as a Cougar, I don't know if I count. He was a little older than me. But I've been through a lot to where now I'm wise. I'm wiser. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to be the same fool 20 times. not twice, but 20 times.
Well, how did you end up in Texas now?
That's
18 more times ago.
No. I gave love a shot one more time, and it didn't. Love don't love me. Okay, love don't live here anymore.
Not true. Not true. You just haven't found the right one
I
yet. The
ain't
right
looking
one
for
hasn't come
nobody.
along.
I ain't looking for nobody. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Yeah, he's supposed to look for you. You're right.
He's looking for me, but I'm cool right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I say that I'm cool. And listen, ladies, don't listen to me on this. I'm just speaking from myself, and I tell my daughter the same thing. Don't listen to me. I'm speaking of my personal journey. I've been through a lot in relationships, and I take 50% blame of that because Donovan, you say it all the time. You cannot say I had nothing to do with it. Now, I've never cheated on anybody. I've never harmed anybody, like beat them up or stole their money. None of that stuff, right? I think that I could have cut off a lot of those relationships before they got to the point of where they ended up. But like a lot of people, men and women, we see hope. Oh, things are going to get better. Things are going to change. Or I know they're not answering their call. They used to answer their phone. Maybe they just, doing this, that, and the other instead of saying, my spirit is sensing a cheating spirit. Do you know what I'm saying? Also, I talk about this a lot now that we have the online stuff where before, somebody want to cheat is like, we're going to meet at the same time, same cafe, me and Mrs. Jones, right? Don't call me. As Stevie wanted to say, I'm going to call once, hang up the phone, let me know you made it home. You don't need to text me, talk about, oh, hey, baby, how you doing? Here's a picture of my booty. Nah, so now you have the internet where people, and especially this is why I say too, this is the word right here. Don't you never, ever, 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 ever date nobody who don't have a good, healthy self-esteem about themselves. Because you know why? They don't have healthy self-esteem, and they are on the internet. Any and everybody that tells them, oh, you sure is fine. Oh, you looking good today. And this, that, and the other. Pow! Their head gonna blow up. And then they start feeding into that instead of saying, well, thank you. I'm going to keep it pushing. And in some cases, you ain't even supposed to say thank you. I got somebody. I'm going to leave it alone. So I'm telling y'all, men and women, don't date somebody who don't know who they are. Do not date somebody who needs to be validated. By people they don't know. And I repeat this a lot, and I'm telling y'all, because those people will always put themselves in a position to let you down. They will always put themselves in a position to cheat on you and to make excuses and to come up missing and to flirt online and on the timeline. They'll always make excuses, right? So date somebody who knows who they are. And I want to date somebody to say, I know I'm fine. The F. I don't need you to tell me that. As long as my woman tells me I'm fine, I look good, that's all I care about. I don't need the peanut gallery of chicken heads to tell me I look good. See, that's who I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who don't need the validation of strangers. So that's all I'm saying. I've been through all of that. I've been through all of it. It's not fun because especially when you are dating somebody who is really like, listen, you can't date me and the internet at the same time. Okay. You can't do it. Because there's a lot of people too who feel like, oh, well, this woman or this man is paying me attention. I'm going to listen to their sob story. Oh, yeah, girl. Oh, really? Oh, that's too bad. And then eventually it's like, y'all want to meet? You want to meet? Yeah, let's meet. And then it ends up into being other stuff. And I cannot tell y'all, okay, how many times a woman has contacted me while I was dating somebody with the inception of the internet to ask me about my man. You know what I'm saying? Or, and like, even on here, I'm just telling y'all now, I'm just really talking. I've had, even while I was on here or live, I've had women, specifically one woman, hop in and out of my comment section with nonsense about this Negro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, if he wants you, I'm not stopping him from leaving. I'm not stopping him, but don't harass me over him. or whatever. That I would never see. I'm not the type of woman. It's gonna hurt me like hell that you cheat on me and you leave me, but I would never fight another woman over you. Because if I got to fight another woman over you, you was never mine in the first place.
Right. The funny thing is that you bring that up. I noticed in the South, that old school way of doing things where the woman has to show you that she's got your man and stuff like that. And it probably happens here in California, but usually the selection here is so big in Cal, people just go on about their business. It ain't even worth all. You just go to the next one and you're done. But I notice in the South, that's very prevalent where they got to show you that they took your man, and they're proud of that stuff. They're proud of it.
You ain't took nothing that didn't want to go, boo-boo. But even still, if he finds you to be what he wants, what does that got to do with me? Take this raggedy Negro and bounce. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you don't need my approval? You don't, but see, this is the thing, though. I'm going to leave with this. What you do to other people will be done to you. Especially when you do it to somebody who is a good person, and I don't care what nobody say, anybody that know me will tell you that Demetra K is a good person. When you do that to a good person, so you'll laugh now, but your ass gonna cry later. You're gonna cry later because one thing that God, the universe, has a good way of doing is humbling people who need to be humbled. And so I would never want to be and never will be a woman that brag to or terrorize or gloat and bully, because that's what I was being bullied. I never told y'all about that, but I was being bullied by this woman over this man. See, I would never do that to anybody because I know what the other side of that looks like. Yeah, you think you got something? You think you got something that would do what you are helping this person do what he is doing to me? You think you got something? But guess what? Him? Oh, that ain't what it is. What you'll ultimately get, you're gonna feel sorry that you did what you did. You know what I'm saying? And instead, Smokey Robinson, he made a good comment one day, because y'all know he has a song, "The Agony and the Ecstasy," right? So he was on a radio show or something. He was talking about the song, and it basically,
what's it all about?
Yeah. So it basically said, I know you to belong to somebody, but neither one of us are free. So basically it's a song about dipping off or whatever. So the guy asked Smokey Robinson about it. He says, one thing I know for sure is we don't own people. If your friend is messing with your woman, it sucks, but you don't own that person, right? That person is free to go do what they want to do. We don't own people is what he said. So I never forgot that, which is why I never really took it personally, especially one of the last times that happened to me when a woman calls or gets in my inbox, oh, I'm with your man and all this other stuff. I never took that personally because I'm like, well, he wasn't my man if you got him. And I don't own people, whatever. So anyway, I know that was a lot, but yeah, don't come to the Cougar Den if you ain't ready to be about that life, okay? Because we will slice and dice you with the pot liquor and cornbread juice. Whatever, you know what I mean? Because I know a lot of older women date younger men, but I know a lot of women who are dating younger men for the thrills. They're not dating them because they know he gonna act right. More than likely, Cougars are dating younger men. They know he ain't gonna act right. They know they're gonna have to make a couple of trips to the gynecologist, talking about why I'm itching.
Yeah, and younger men, because they have a need, they know that it's easier to control a younger man because they have, usually older women have the resources that the younger man doesn't have. He needs a place to sleep. He needs a place to so it's a big.
Oh no, but no, boo-boo. You're not coming over there to sleep. You might. I'm just saying from not my point of view, but other Cougars' point of view. You're not coming to sleep. You gonna get in the bed, but you ain't falling asleep. I'll make you something to eat and all of that. We're going to play, Bid Wiz and all that other stuff. But you're going home. Okay?
So that means he's going to his car.
Whatever. You're going to crack my back. You know what I mean? And all of
You know
that.
what it is. You know what you're here for.
And you're going to see you next time, boo-boo. Sugar, you drive safely wherever you're going.
See, that is totally disgusting because, men just do that to women. And then when women do it to men, it's okay. It's acceptable.
It's all right if you're honest about it, baby. You ain't no space in the closet for you. I'm just saying. Anyway, y'all know I'm a mess. So we love and appreciate y'all. We're about to get out of here. Please share, like, subscribe, and all the above. We have ways of donating to the channel. If you find value in what we are doing, we'll be back here live with Walter, Wealth Wednesdays with Walter, where Walter is a hot mess, but you're going to get the information you need to financially improve your life. So anyway, y'all, we'll see y'all later. We love you. Peace.